You ready? Okay, which one do you want from Colin Cowherd? Do you want why the Eagles can't flex their muscles?
This is the one that I heard earlier. You shared it with the group this morning, and I heard it, and I thought, whoa, that is, man, Colin, I don't know who you got doing your research for you, because I know it's not you, but that's some high-quality research right there, Colin.
High-quality H2O.
Totally.
Eagles are 10-1, best team in the league situationally, great roster, got to the Super Bowl last year. They are so good in close games. I mean, I've never seen anything quite like it, right? But is there a downside to that? Oh, there is. We went back 7 years, Super Bowl champs, 10-plus point wins. You see, teams that win the Super Bowl flex. They blow out teams. Now, you know that in college, but it's true in pro football. If you go to the last 7 Super Bowl champs, Patriots had 10 wins over 10 points. Eagles, 2017, Nick Foles, 7. Patriots, 8. Chiefs, 7. Bucks, 8. Rams, 6. Chiefs, 7. If you go back a decade, there's only one exception. Denver Broncos, 2015, but that was that Brock Osweiler, old Peyton Manning circus year, right? Like they couldn't get the quarterback thing right. And that was also the best defense we've all probably seen in the last 10 years. Philly doesn't have that. In fact, in NFL history, Philadelphia has the second worst point differential for any team that's won 10 of their first 11. They don't flex because they can't flex.
You can love Colin, you can hate Colin. That sounds like a very data-driven, interesting point to me.
Yeah, till the end, the closing statement.
Why?
Because he said they don't flex because they can't flex. Well, that's not true. They just haven't flexed yet. I mean, they could flex still, but based on his historical data or the data that he was given, yeah, the fact that and he was able to use the Broncos example and say Brock Osweiler, fine. That's probably a pertinent way to couch why they didn't flex on people, because they were trying to figure out their quarterback situation. And historically, a team that doesn't win a lot of blowouts doesn't win the Super Bowl. I'll allow that as a historical fact.
Yeah. Again, this is why I will continue. I will maintain, and you can hate me for it all you want. This is a much better version of last year's Vikings. And here's what I mean by that. It doesn't mean they're a fraud. It doesn't mean they're a bad team. It means they're not as good as their record. That's all it means. And if you want to Parcells me, I've never liked the quote. You are what your record says you are. No, you're not. No, you're not. The New York Giants were a wild card team at 500 and won the Super Bowl. So you can do anything from all kinds of positions in life. And it doesn't have anything to do, you are what it says you are. It's just mundane and black and white to think that way, in my opinion. There is context here. There are reasons why things happen. And tucked into all of that is a bunch of compliments to the Eagles. They have been incredible in fourth quarter situations. They are clutch. They are calm. They're able to come from behind. These are all good things. But are they dominant? No. And it sounds like a 10-1 team is dominant, but they're not. They just aren't. And typically, when you get to the big games in the end, that's when that gets you. Because they're situationally, that sort of goes away in the playoffs. It's why the Minnesota Vikings did what they did last year. Bebop-baloo, 13-4. Now here's a playoff game. You got whacked in your own building because someone's going to come at you with their best punch or their healthiest punch or whatever. So the Eagles are 5-0 through a gauntlet of opponents. I feel like they were outplayed in 3 of those 5 games, but they won them all. Pat on the back, high five, great job. But I'm still going to analyze this game on the way into it like I see it, which is right now, you put these two teams on paper, the 49ers are better, and if you look at simply how things have been going situationally the last 3 or 4 weeks, the 49ers are markedly better than what the Eagles have done. And if you think I'm just being crazy, then explain to me why Vegas did what they did. Help me.
Right.
Help me understand why the Niners are the Super Bowl favorite and a 3-point favorite on the road in the rain in Philly.
Well, there are a couple different things here. One, the odds makers set the number not exclusively based on how much better they think a team is than the other team. And the number is set based on money, and it's based on attracting money on both sides. So you put a team that you think is better, the Niners, and you put them at -1, and then the money comes in, and you move it to 3 because you want some people to think, oh boy, I'm getting a home team, I'm getting a 10-1 team at home, and I'm getting a field goal.
Exactly.
So that's why you put the number and you move it up to 3, because you want to draw a number, you want to draw money on both sides. And when you say the Niners are Super Bowl favorite, and you just say it the way you said it, it implies that they are overwhelming favorite. Now, you didn't say that they're overwhelming favorite, and I've looked at a number of different houses that are posting the Super Bowl odds as they sit, and the 49ers are as microscopically favorites
correct
as you can possibly find.
Which is odd, though, when you are 2 games behind a team and about to head to their stadium.
Again, it's not that odd when you think about why they post these odds the way they do. The Niners are a team that's won 3 in a row. They're a team that is seen as the most complete team in football. Everybody, other than your feelings about the quarterback, raves about this team and their chance to win the division. And they're probably 99% chance to win the NFC West right now and get a home game. And they've already beaten their chief rival, Dallas, very, very badly. So the only thing that's standing in the Niners' way of making it to the Super Bowl is Philadelphia. So the odds makers put the Niners in a certain spot because of everything that you're saying. The Niners have looked very good over the last 3 games. And even if you look at the games before, the 3 games that they lost, you lost on a kick. You lost to a Minnesota team that game was a little bit fluky. You had your chances to win that late. And then you lost to Cincinnati, where you were at the long run of a first half and the Bengals were coming off a bye, and you had Brock Purdy throw interceptions on back-to-back passes, and you lost a game to a team that is better than their record would indicate.
Grab a compass and go on a ride with me and help me understand. Okay?
A compass? Are we going north or south?
We're going math. No. Like,
do I need my abacus?
Sure.
All right. I got it.
Bring it all. So I'm looking right now at the actual playoff status odds. Okay? Not
odds to make the playoffs.
Not betting odds, probabilities.
Sure.
Probabilities.
Odds to make the playoffs.
All of it. Odds to make the playoffs, odds to make the Super Bowl, odds
and this
to
is
win
according
the Super Bowl.
to, I'm just curious, like, because there's so many different sites that run these numbers.
Right, but they're right. So playoffstatus.com.
Oh, I love
if you will.
It's good.
Okay.
Not .org.
The 49ers are 99% chance to make the playoffs.
Okay.
The Eagles are greater than 99% chance to make the playoffs.
Okay.
Okay. To get to round 2, Niners are 74%, Eagles are 96%.
Which means that the Eagles are likely to get a bye in this scenario, and therefore they would make it to round 2.
How about to get to a conference championship?
Eagles probably at 40%.
75%.
Wow. And the Niners are probably about the same.
44%.
44%.
Mm-hmm.
That's implying that the Niners would have to go through Dallas. What's Dallas in that same number?
Dallas
probably about 29%.
To make the conference championship?
Yes.
20%.
Okay.
So, Eagles 75% to make the NFC title game, Niners only 44%. How about to make the Super Bowl? Just to make it to the Super Bowl. Eagles 52%. Better than 50-50 to make the Super Bowl. Niners 19%. How about to win the Super Bowl? The Niners 9%. Eagles 30%. Those are probabilities.
Right.
Explain to me why the Niners are favored to win the Super Bowl over the Eagles and the Chiefs and all these teams that have better probabilities. Did you know that the Jaguars have a better percentage probability to make the Super Bowl than the 49ers do? So why is everybody betting on the Niners?
Because the probability is based on the statistics of the record of their remaining schedule, the record of their division, and all the rest of the mathematics involved not having anything to do with this team against that team and the human beings involved. The odds makers, the probability is not looking at Trent Williams versus, Hargrave versus Reddick or anything like that.
Right, but it does have to do with who you're playing.
And those teams' records.
Right. So in other words, the powerfulness or lack thereof of what's still ahead, which is subjective.
Right. It's objective in terms of what the records are, but it's not subjective in terms of which team is actually good. And the odds makers who are setting the Super Bowl odds and the point spread for this Sunday, they're looking at things in a more subjective manner, and they're also looking at a way to balance the action. So if you based the odds, if the odds makers just looked at those numbers and they thought, geez, Niners are 9% chance to win the Super Bowl, the implied odds, I think, would be about 12-1. So they would be at plus 1,200 to win the Super Bowl based on, a 9% chance of winning.
But they're only at about what?
Plus 425.
425.
Right. And so if you hung or if you posted the Niners at 12-1 odds to win the Super Bowl,
you'd lose your butt.
You're betting it. Grandy's betting it. Lucas, we're all betting it.
You'd lose your butt.
And you're losing your butt because a lot of people would bet it. So the odds are more reflective of betting trends and reality.
Right. I know what everybody's sort of simplistic answer is. I'm seeing it all over our YouTube chat. Oh, it's money. It's just the flow of money. Well, where does the flow of money come from?
The people.
Thank you. And where do the people come from? They've got brains and opinions and subjectivity and studying and data and facts and all of those things. These are not stupid people. Vegas is not risking billions of dollars because they think you like the Niners. I love this opinion. Well, Vegas made them a favorite because people like the Niners. No, that's not the whole story at all. Again, I will refer you to the conversation I had with an odds maker earlier this week. Why are the Niners favored? His answer was not, because all you schmucks like the Niners.
Right.
His answer was, because they're better.
Yeah.
Because they are.
They're better.
Doesn't mean they're going to win.
It doesn't mean that they're going to win.
My only point today is there are 1,000 different things that can happen in this game. Key people could get hurt, bad play calls, bad bounces, bad everything.
Tip pass,
fumbles,
muff,
missed kicks,
all of it.
Sideways rainstorms.
The reason why we love football is because they use an oblong ball.
Yeah.
I mean, that thing can bounce anywhere at any time.
Right?
And I'm trying to remember the play earlier this year where there was a fumble and the ball was bounced toward the sideline and spun and bounced again and spun again.
And the Niners got it.
Right.
It was at Jacksonville.
That was the Jacksonville game.
It was at Jacksonville.
I couldn't remember the exact game.
And it should have been a fumble rumble. He should have gone all the way for 6.
No, I was thinking about the play where the ball was fumbled and it looked like it was going to bounce out of bounds. And it stayed in bounds.
Yeah.
And it stayed in bounds. And it stayed in bounds. And they actually were able to recover it. And
I thought that was the Jacksonville game.
I'll look it up. I thought it was an earlier game of the year.
Or was it the Tampa game? Anyway, whatever it was.
Yeah. It's an oblong ball.
Course.
You never know what's going to happen. And this is only a 3-point spread. So, yes, the Niners are favored, and they're a road favorite against a 10-1 team. That's significant. But it's not like they're favored by 11.5 or 12 and a hook.
I didn't say they're going to win by 30.
Of course not.
I'm just telling you the Eagles are not as good as their 10-1 record would suggest.
I will say this, and this is coming from me only, and I haven't looked at any other commenter about this, but when you refer to the Eagles or the Vikings of last year, that's where you start to lose me.
Again,
because
a much better version of.
To even use the Vikings in any way, shape, or form, to me, is disrespectful. The Vikings last year were 13-4 with a negative point differential,
Correct.
which is unheard of for a 13-win team in the NFL.
Yes.
This Eagle team is plus 62 on the year. They're 10-1, and they are plus 64,
which is a record low for a team with this
10
record.
Wins at this point.
A
Or one of
low.
only 2 teams, I think Colin said in his research. But plus 64 after 11 games indicates you should probably be 8-3, and they're 10-1.
They probably should be 8-3.
Philadelphia went 13-4 with a negative point differential, which tells me that they should have been 8-9 and not 13-4. And that team was much more of a fraud then this team, to me, is maybe a questionable team. You didn't say that they're a fraud.
Right.
But
I agree.
to even compare this team at all to Minnesota, to me, is disrespectful.
Okay. Then I'm disrespectful.
But it's okay.
Yeah,
You're entitled to your opinion. I'm not trying to make you feel bad about it.
All there is a way to define a team that has a better record than who they are as a team, in my opinion. I did that by saying they're a better version of what the Vikings did last year, because that's how I would define the Vikings. Doesn't mean the Vikings last year were a bad team. You can't be 13-4 as a bad team. The negative point differential was largely because they played the Cowboys and lost by like 60 points.
Well, 3 of their games, they lost by 17, 37, and 11, and 34. Those were their losses. I'm sorry, 24. Green Bay beat them 41-17.
Right, and they lost to Dallas by 37 points.
Yeah, 40-3, kid.
And so that's why their point differential was messed up. But they were.
It was really skewed.
They were a good team, but they weren't like what 13-4 feels like.
They won by 4, 3, 7, 8, 8, 3, 3, 7, 5, 3.
There you go.
3.
And what was the score against the Colts? Were they down 30-0 or something like that?
39-36 in overtime.
And how far were they down? Were they down 30? Were they down 33?
Yeah, I think they were around 33-0.
They might have been down 33-0, and they won the football game.
Yeah.
Okay? So, yeah, it takes breaks for that to happen.
33-0 at the half, Coach.
Listen, here's another way to say it.
Say it.
If you're an Eagle fan and you want to peacock their record, go for it. But if you can't acknowledge the breaks, that's on you. That's on you, and it's disingenuous. I would acknowledge the breaks. I mean, the reason I can't do it this year, and again, tucked into this, is something that is not a compliment, but the 49ers have not won any football games where you can point to breaks because they haven't won any close games. That's not a good thing. But it's true. The 49ers, like someone just asked this, ZZick01, whatever your name is. Are the 49ers as good as their 8-3 record would suggest? I would answer that at a minimum, because you can't look at any of their 8 wins and go, well, that was lucky. They've won them all by 100 points. Which one did they get away with one? Where'd the Niners get away with one and they snuck out of there with a crazy win? It didn't happen yet.
Last year, the Eagles were 10-1. After 11 games, and I just did the math, and they were a plus 86 after 11 games, which is better than this year. Not dramatically better, but slightly better. They won by 3. They won a game by 8, a game by 3. They had 3 games by 1 score. 4 games. They beat Indy 17-16. They got to 10-1 with 5 games by 1 score. They beat Green Bay 40-33. They were a plus 86, so they were better than this year. But I don't remember looking at last year and thinking, geez, they've gotten by with a lot of lucky wins.
No, I think last year's, as Angelo Cataldi said to Bonte and Joe this morning, I think last year's Eagle team was better than this one. Doesn't mean it's going to be that way in January, by the way. I'm telling you what I see right now. Last year's Eagles team was better than this one. They performed better than this team has performed. Now, people will talk about beating good teams. That's Z-Zlick's response. It's about beating good teams. I'm sorry, the Niners haven't beaten good teams? You don't think Dallas is good? You don't think the Jags are good? They've blown these teams off the field. Now, have the Eagles beaten good teams? You damn well better believe they have. Absolutely. But I am taking my opinion home tonight to dinner that the Chiefs and Bills outplayed the Eagles. They lost.
Man, Eagles beat them both.
And that counts.
Yeah.
But I watched the games and felt both times like the Eagles were about to lose, and they were down by double digits at halftime of both of those games.
And are the Bills a good team?
I still think they are, yeah.
Yeah, geez. I keep wanting to believe that.
I mean, they're still the Bills. They've had everything. Like, they're kind of the opposite. And they are partially to blame for it.
They're plus 101 in the point differential.
It's crazy.
If you want to talk about point differential.
It's crazy.
Plus 101 and they're 6-6. Plus 101 after 12 games. They should be probably 9-3 or 8-4 at the worst.
Well, just by talent alone. If you have Josh Allen, you should win more games than you lose.
Yeah.
You should. I still think they're
I wonder who the new coach will be.